Hi, this is gonna be part 2 of my what if. What if Deku was abandoned in a hollow? If you hear any noises in the back, I'm just in my room with my dog. Uh, so let me start. Recap. Deku went to the quirk doctor with his father, Asashi, and found out he was quirkless. As with Asashi reacting to this, he didn't react well as he went into a drinking mood and beating up Deku and all that stuff. Don't take a big offense to the beating up of Deku, it's just to give more of a detail of Deku's life and plot, I would suppose. But things will get a little bit worse, but will get a little bit better afterwards. I have to just pause this quickly, I'll be back. Well, sorry, I was just checking something with my mother, so I'll be back, coming back to the story now, as I'll begin now. As Asashi's beating him up. So we carry on a skip from when they went to a quirk doctor to a year later. So Deku would be 5, and this would be he has been going to school getting beaten up by Bakugo. Same plot point of the anime. Not. It's a little bit more like he isn't friends with Bakugo because, well, if you're getting beaten up by your father, you're not really going to be friendly with others, I suppose, depending how you play on that. As one day Asashi puts Deku in the car and drive out to the city. This is where he's going to abandon Deku, obviously. But one thing I do want to say in most other tips, how the hell does people abandon the kid in a forest which they in somewhat on a little bit outside the main city of Tokyo, which the nearest forest is a couple of 1,000 kilometers, which is about 4 hours drive, which means I have to spend quite a long distance just to abandon someone. And looking at their plot point and money says, I don't think that's really what they would have done, so just going by the logical point. Asashi would have taken Deku and threw him onto the streets, into the, darker section of the city, where he'll most likely die of murder, thugs, and other things. As Deku is being thrown out, Deku replies, Dad, what are you doing? What's going on? As a normal 5-year-old kid would react. Asashi says, the time for you to die. As Asashi drives off with a tire squeal and a little smoke flies off. As Deku doesn't understand what's going on and just walks and sits down by the wall. Let's say it's more of a T-junction and he sits down there by an alleyway going down to the city. As he's crying there, not understanding what's going on. After a couple of days, Deku is getting hungry and finds out that he's been abandoned. He's been left alone to rot and die, as he seems to be. In 6 months, we're going to do quite a long 6. He understands that the best way to survive is to not really, I would say, hurt others, but to take and find the best way of survival, which he does by taking from other younger kids, stealing money, that type of stuff, being a thug in other words, but in more of a sense of survival. As Deku's doing this, having a bag, new pair, sort of not new pair of clothes, but not so raggish and that stuff. As Deku's walking down an alleyway, and these older kids come to see Deku and come to think that they could steal from him. As these 3 guys come, sorry, I've just supposed so I had to just take out the trash. So, as the 3 15, 16 years old, maybe 18, one of the head ringleaders 18, others 17, one's 15, high schooler. As they're coming down the alleyway, seeing Deku sounds like heard them coming, getting ready to sort of fight as he knows. But them as using quirks and obviously overpowering Deku beats them up to a pulp to a somewhat situation of almost edge of death. As Deku has been beaten up before by many other people and was already beaten up before those three came here, so he was already in a bad shape. As they're going through his stuff, chucking all these things out, stealing his money and food, Deku's body just passed out, or on the verge of death, as his body couldn't take the momentum of power no more, and his body mindscape shifted. As his mind was bombarded with rage and anger on the conquest of going to his inner self, as something burst white. If you watched Bleach before, you would understand where I'm coming from with the hollow mask, as it's sometimes comes out to your face or it just comes out your mouth, that sort of stuff. His hollow mask is appearing. I think I would put him more in a quarter because he's a young age, so I don't think his body can handle a full power of a Vasco Lorde, so I don't just say quarter the mask, not full, just the eyepiece comes on as he's acting quite aggressive. He's coming up, looking at the three adults I'll just say. He looks at the ringleader, seeing as him was the one beating him the most, and jumped onto him, putting his two hands against his head and whacking his head against it, putting him on the ground, and whacking his fist left to right on the floor, smashing his face right in, and picking him up and smashing his head right off, blasting it like Saitama from One Punch Man. He looked at one of the second oldest, and somehow took his hands and turned into long claws and slashed his body in half. The second oldest one tried to use his quirk to save himself, which let's say is just mass manipulation, but that doesn't help in any good. He's chucking big things, but he's just snapping, slicing things, slice and dice the things into small. And Deku just slices the kid in half, straight down the middle and sideways. The third kid just ran. He ran his ass off. Let's say he has a somewhat speed quirk, not like Ida and such, just, simple speed quirk, quick boost, he got away. But Deku's in such a state of mind that he can't handle the power he's introduced by. So, as I'm sorry, someone just entered my room. If you can hear some people talking, don't mind them, it's just my family. As his power and he's entering by is dark and grimace, his mind is in a zone he can't really handle, like he's in a beast. He can't control the rage and anger that's overtaking him. From someone else is watching him as Deku's running around the hallway up on the buildings, and he passes out on one of the buildings on the end street, on his favorite spot of building, because that's his only home as he knows. So his beast form even comes there as like a den. As I'll give you the person who's looking at, he would be known as Shinji from Bleach, since he's one of the few last Soul Reapers and captains from the Soul Society, which captains are high-ranking Soul Reapers that rule the Soul Society in short terms, that been kicked out of the Soul Society because of the same state he was with Deku, possessed by a hollow. But instead of being born with it, he was possessed while fighting a hollow, a strong one, a mutated type that transferred with him. And he was one of the few that could actually control his hollow and made a contract, not really a contract, but bond with it. As Shinji is watching, speaking to himself, this is as Shinji does, if you know what I'm talking about, his attitude, interesting in a way that this could be beneficial to us. He's saying to himself, I can't really make voices, so only deep ones really. So let's carry on. As beneficial to the cause, he says. So he follows Deku down the streets. Deku, as we come back to Deku's perspective. Deku's on a building, running, and fell unconscious, as being in a hollow form obviously does take a lot out of you. First time, 5-year-old, understandable. As Shinji meets up with Deku, finds him unconscious on the floor on a 10-story building, quite high. Halfway, sort of hands, head over the side of the building, and the rest of the body. Honestly, he didn't fall off, but was trying to look at the view as his hollow side can only see, does have some intelligence as it is sort of taking over in his bestial form. But since the hollow has been looking from Deku's point of perspective, not really well known in the city, but does know what the city is, knows how to speak, really, but not so much. As the hollow is as old as Deku at the moment, but with a further intelligence of power, understanding of itself, and greater forms way above it. As Shinji picks up Deku and takes her to him to a place where they can rest. You know how the League of Villains got a bar? I'm going to sort of put it as they're not the League of Villains, obviously, but they own a restaurant, a European-based Japanese-styled restaurant. I'm not going to speak what's its name. You can just put in the comments what it could be called if there are some viewers. You can make up some names or whatever. As he does put him at the back, at the bottom of the building, and the next day arrives. Next few days arrives, as Deku's been unconscious for about, let's say, four days. Deku wakes up, flustered, confused, type of person who's been in a coma for a couple of days, and in a whole new place, doesn't know what the hell's going on. All he remembers is glimpses of killing people, which he isn't quite afraid of, as he has seen it with a lot of other villains and other things, so he understands survival. But the way he was doing it wasn't natural, as he could see that he wasn't in the right mind of state, like he wasn't himself. Something else entirely was taking over, like a beast or demon of sorts. As you know what it is, it's a hollow, obviously. As Deku gets out of the couch, with a blanket over him, he sees some clothes over there, freshly ones, not the torn ones, with a pair of shoes and that stuff. He puts it on. He says, there's a note there. Meet me upstairs if you're awake. There should be some breakfast on the table. Be cautious, as there are people in the room. Just watch out. You can meet me at the back office, and upstairs on the top, depending. If you meet someone there, anyone vaguely off, as you can sense, I'll explain everything in further detail. If you're waking up and remembering some things of what you did the other couple of days ago, I will explain that too. Also your power, etc. From you, friend Shinji. As Deku reads this, a little bit confused because he hasn't read in a while, but he understands where it's coming. Some of the main quotes. Come meet me back or upstairs. Meet if you feel tension with someone, they will tell you where. Okay. He gets out of his bed, opens the door, and walks up the stairs. As he was in the back, like sort of employee room, locker room of sorts. He walks up, sees it's a restaurant. That's what he means, and when there's going to be people. He walks, scrolls a little bit on the floor. He sees a man there. I'm not going to bring out you can see, just guess like there's 20 people. I'm going to call Chad. Not from Bleach, just going with it. Chad sees Deku, and Shinji has obviously told him why he's there. Chad just points with his thumb at the back, showing the back if you want to meet who you want to meet. As Deku walks to the back, understanding because he's been on the sidewalks, he knows simple, less you talk, the more easier it is to confirm if they're good or evil. As you could see, this guy is just doing his job, just doing what gave paid. But Deku could sense a sort of aura or being there, not quite natural. Then he's starting to think a little bit more. That's understandable now. The form, the beast. I'm here with a lot more people like me. As he's understanding now, is this a quirk? No, he's not thinking of this quirk. It's a little bit too vague. Or, what's the word? Impulsive to be a quirk. As he walks upstairs, he saw the back, no one's there except a couple of waiters, women and girls. Sorry, men and girls, men and women. Sorry if I mispronounced there. He goes to the front, he meets Shinji in the office. Shinji has been doing some paper, understanding as he's been doing some research on Deku, not on to understand who he is, what he is, not really what he is, or what happened to him. As he does see, Resta is missing, quirkless, Izuku Midoriya. Maybe no more Izuku Midoriya I could sense here. As he seems like the kid already knows what's going on, like he's been on the streets, he's acting more like quirkless. As there's been the lowest percentage of people as quirkless, he's thinking, abandoned or betrayed. Either way, this could be beneficial. As Deku knocks the door and walks in, Shinji sees, kid, you finally came to meet me. Not a mafia, you came to come and meet me. Hi, my name is Shinji and your name is? Deku didn't reply. As Shinji says, you're not the one to speak, are you? Are you not, or are you? Deku says, it's been a while since I've been speaking to people on equal terms. As you can see, Shinji has a powerful aura, more powerful than Chad and the other women there, and men there in the lounge. As you can see, that this aura is more like the leader of the group. He's getting, so your name is Shinji. You the leader of these participants, or I don't know what's the word you could say. Vessels. As in a way, you understand, some word that can say someone who has a beast inside him controls it, but organization way of terming, saying it nicely. You can come up with a word by yourself. I don't need to force anything. As Deku, they speak, Shinji explains everything. You can go back to the last video or this video to explain what a hollow is. Beings, ancient, old, eat souls, eat humans, depending, or themselves grow more powerful, yada yada yada, possesses soul reapers or Quincy's, but Quincy's have died out. And now he explains the big part. Our role is to, as a restaurant, as a face. So we could actually exterminate hollows. As after the he explains the 1,000-year blood war, that's how quirks came around, so humans could defend themselves off yada yada yada. As after the 1,000-year blood war, there were no more soul reapers or Quincy's alive. So some captains got possessed by hollows, some lieutenants, some people. Those are those women and men downstairs. Now Deku's getting the bigger idea. He's one of them, but someone. Then Shinji explains that his father was an ancestor of a soul reaper that survived. His mother was a Quincy, but very low lineage, you can understand. So no old man Zangetsu, I'm not going to put that in. It's too heavy on lore, especially on, you have to like have heavy details on this, really. So I can put in the hollow, Vasco Lorde and all that stuff. If I spoiled anything there, just leave it, you can understand what I mean. If you are whatever. As I was saying, as Shinji explains this, Deku understands, as Shinji says, if you don't control your inner creature or inner hollow, whatever his name is, he does have a name, obviously, as he will eat you from the inside and take out your heart and control your body and rampage the whole city full, and then we have to kill you. As this group of people keep the hollows at bay, keep the balance in check. Don't kill too much hollows, don't kill too little hollows. Keep it just perfectly. Perfectly still. If I cut out there, sorry, I just had to carry on the image I can record. Perfectly still, so humans, because if there's no more hollows dying, and no more soul reapers, also their job is to allow the souls to pass on to the next world. And to allow the hollows to grow, go stronger, die, reborn, come back, so the humans can be reborn and the circle of life can carry on. Shinji does explain this. So now he's asking a question. Where do you want to stand? With us, and we help you, teach you how to use it, and you can become something more than a hero. Something more powerful than a quirk, and show those who have treated you fucking crap to show a little bit more gratitude, or to leave yourself to die alone with nothing achieved at all. What shall it be? Izuku with Doria. As Deku looks at him saying, "How do you know my name?" "There's a lot of files on you missing, I've seen." Quirkless. A little bit something more powerful than that, but okay. Missing age 5 to maybe 6. Sounds about right. Black hair, a little bit green. No more I could see now. Definitely no black, definitely no green. As his hair is going to be orange since he changed his form into a lot of different ways. And his color, his face, a little bit stronger. So that's why he was unconscious in a coma for about 4 or 5 days. So his body could transform with the power just got up. So he would be fairly strong, can pick up about 200 kilos, decent weight. For his age, that's a lot. Deku didn't really notice his hair or body, but as he looks in the mirror right next door, he can almost shot out his chair like he saw someone else entirely. His facial expressions, like you can see in the picture above, some of the facial expressions here. Something like that, but on a younger age, obviously. Orange hair, someone a little bit longer, like their hair here. I'll put up the image. Sorry for that little bad audio at the back, I just had to find an image. He will be looking like this, but just think of him a little bit younger. A little bit Izuku features. Don't think you have the eyeballs are about orange and black. This is what he'll be looking like, a little bit older. Yeah. And as Izuku is now seeing himself, I now believe Shinji. And this image up is what he's going to be looking like when he's older. So, this is not my images. I took it off the internet. You can see who wrote it and what's it about. So, no copywriting. Okay, as I carry on now. As Deku's thinking now he's understanding here. He's been in a coma. His features are changing. And he thinks it's better to join Shinji than to not, because he got the feeling that Shinji's going to force him however you do it. But second of all, Deku wants to control the power and show his father that he is something more powerful than quirks or even All Might itself, as he now thinks of quirks as the point of survival for humans, but humans overrated as a power gift, not a protection. As that's what Shinji is explaining here, spiritual creatures transform into objects or mutates the human body. But if you use pure spiritual pressure, it is 1,000 times more powerful than the fuse type or object creating or whatever you could say, extra product of it. And Deku's thinking, so let's do a time skip to allow a little bit. Now he's about, let's say, 12. He's been going to school, obviously. Let's say the next 2 years he's been training on his upper body weight. Sorry, let's make him 7 now. He's been training for the last 2 years on his upper body weight, his body, learning about the Hollow and Soul Reaper and Quincy history. As Soul Reapers don't see as Quincy's evil now, since Quincy's now got the message how if they kill Hollows and they can't be purified and be reincarnated, the less even Quincy's or even people will be born, as there would be during the, let's say, medieval periods where the less people born and then couldn't be in the, I would have to say, human population decrease, but then they understood where the Quincy was going from, want to be the greatest. Okay, let's carry on the story now. As we hit 10, he connected with his Hollow, as you know the image from way back there, but just think of him a little bit more. How can I explain it? Just give me a moment. What you see above a few seconds, or even now, is the Hollow version that he's been possessed or connected with, as Deku would put terms with, is now he's talking to the Hollow, and the Hollow is in a way understanding why Deku's here, as they both have the same mentality. No one weak shall stand, control me, only the strong shall rule. You'll always stand your high horse with the great power you wield, as he doesn't want anyone weak. But if he's asking for them to connect and have something strong, then he's okay with. Now he's meeting with his Shikigami side of him. The top, these characters are all the same person, so it doesn't really matter. This is his Shikigami. And the Shikigami will be teaching how to harness his swordsmanship and spiritual control, while the Hollow is more of the power and the energy and the mentality of it. The battle tactics, in other words. As the Shikigami version, the Soul Reaper version, will teach him all the history, the deeper knowledge of his knowledge. As this, I'm putting him as the younger Zangetsu, the younger version of Old Man. I don't Tensa Zangetsu. I don't know his full name really. As younger in the anime, he would be known as the Old Man, but I don't really know why they did that. It would just be easier to show it like this earlier. Let's get back to the story. As at age 10, he makes deals, he connects. So he already got his Hollow Mask, young age. Age 14, he's been at school. He's friends with, not really. He didn't tell the world, he didn't even tell the school he's been training, or he's even a Soul Reaper or Hollow user. I don't know if Fullbringers are Hollows. Like, I don't know in the anime, really. Someone put in the comments in a long description detail what makes a difference between a Hollow user, if I'm not using the correct term for Hollow users, sorry, or Fullbringer. I know a Fullbringer has some of the Soul King's essence, and they combined with a Hollow and that stuff. But doesn't Ichigo have the same trait? Like, seriously? But whatever. As he's been bullied by Bakugo and his galleys. But Shinji said to use it as a training tactic to get used to pain and shock absorption and all that stuff. So later when he gets pain or gets cut, he's quite used to it. But also over the years, he went with Shinji and his gang, killing Hollows, protecting people from Hollows, sending souls to the Soul Society, all allowing the Soul Society to develop, as the Soul Society is in ruins. It is in decent ruins, And Wakamundo is also in, Wakamundo I would say is more protected as it's highly denser than the Salt Society, so it's more likely that is fine. Wakamundo is where the higher up hollows live, and they don't destroy the world. They know how they need to be balanced, and without balance there's no more hollows and there's no more power for them to feed on. So they keep it fine, they keep it cool, they keep it Taz. As Deku, I'm gonna change. We will call him Deku as the What If, yeah. But he changed his name to Ichigo Kurosaki, just so it could keep purposes in purposes. As Deku get bullied, this would be when he's 15. Not the start of the anime as anime. This is a high school. I'm making it a high school. Because I'm 100% sure it would be illegal to make kids be heroes and finish school and do all this stuff in high school. But whatever. As the sludge villain attacks, he defeats the sludge villain easy. Whack, one punch. Doesn't even need to transform. Simple, easy. Quick slaughter. Whacks it around. As Deku sees All Might flying down here, so he can sense, he has good sensory ability. Sense that All Might's here. Then he asks the question, All Might says, you can't be a hero. Without power, you can't be a hero. You can maybe be a policeman if you're that good with your skills without your quirk, but you can't. As All Might flies with the sludge man away, it attacks Bakugo. Deku does come there and defeats it, but instead of defeating and letting it cops, he kills it. But the heroes think it's unconscious or something. As later they examined, it's dead. It's the sludge bear is dead. As Deku knows this, and he thinks, well, that was accidental because he was enraged, but also glad because then he knows that not everyone in this world's almost all the same. They think quirks are the greatest thing, while actually there's something more to have upon someone's power. Not their quirk that represents their great, but the energy they provide or the helping they need. As he does grow in forms, like in the anime with his Bonkai, his second hollow form. I'll exuberate that a little bit more, but you'll understand. As Deku, after saving, everyone saw this, but doesn't really pay mind to it. He walks away and sees a girl getting beaten up, getting robbed, or mugged, in the alleyway, as this is the quickest way to the restaurant for his work. He gets paid in a restaurant, yeah. As you can put in the comments and guess who this girl is. Thank you for listening. Put in the comments and guess who it is. Please subscribe, please like. Leave in the comments if you want more. Bye, thanks.